Hi everyone, welcome to another Pokemon trading card game video, and for those of you who have been paying attention, right now, today, when this video goes live, is the final day for the Pokemon United States National Championships. And, well, the second day of Nats basically allows for people to alter their deck to include cards from any set between black and white base and now. So, what you see here is, well, first of all, we have Dawson on your left and Brandon on your right, and what we see here are two decks that I think are going to have a really good chance at getting pretty high up there on day one and progress to day two, and these might even be some decks that we will see at day two. Basically, the thing is, most people, when they think of expanded format, they think, okay, you can, you know, start making decks of anything from the old format. You can make a Ray Eels deck, you can make a Blastoise deck, you could do basically anything. And while that is true, most people actually opt to stick with the same deck that they played first day and just alter it a little bit, like maybe 2 or 3 cards to include some cards from older sets like Pokemon Communication or Level Ball or something like that. Some decks that might benefit from that include the one that Dawson is playing, which is just a straight-up Bats deck, so it'll be fun to see how this goes. And Brandon is playing a Night March deck. And these are the two decks that I believe are going to be the best at Nationals, and obviously we'll see how right I am. Oh, this is awesome. Dawson started out with a Deoxys, and Deoxys has an attack called Close Encounter. You can attack using your first turn using that move, and it allows you to draw 2 cards. Usually you cannot attack if you go first on your first turn. Deoxys and I believe Latios is the only other exception to that, where it allows you to go ahead and attack, but only use that specific attack. It doesn't deal damage, but an extra 2 cards on your first turn probably is going to be pretty worth it. We do see that Brandon only started with the lone Pumpkaboo, probably not the ideal start, but it's better than nothing. Well, we're going to see the Professor Juniper from Dawson's End. He has 2 bats in play already. He's going to bench a Wobbuffet and another bat. And Wobbuffet has an ability, I forget exactly what it's called, but it basically states while it is your active Pokemon, all other abilities are shut off except those from Psychic Pokemon. That's not bad, considering that the Bats line, the Sneaky Bite, and the Surprise Bite attack on Golbat and Crobat are Psychic-type Pokemon, so as long as Wobbuffet's active, your opponent, say, can't play a Shaman EX, but you can still play down your Bats and get damage off that way. So we see the Battle Compressor from Brandon. He's going to get rid of those Lampent right away, as he should. The Lampent have no other purpose than to go straight to the discard pile. He really needs to do some catching up here. Dawson has 3 bats in play and a Wobbuffet to start shutting off things. Well, Mew EX would still be able to use his Versatile, so there's that. But there's this Deoxys, which just allowed him to get 2 quick cards on his very first turn. We see the Life Dew in the Dimension Valley. Now, the Dimension Valley actually helps Dawson as well, so we'll see if that comes back to bite him, but... And we see the Ultra Ball getting rid of a Jirachi and another Dimension Valley. That must have hurt a little bit. Getting rid of the Jirachi, basically getting rid of a free supporter. But if the Wobbuffet is ever put in the active spot, then it's useless anyway. And we do see the Setup ability from Shaman. And, alright, we see the Eevee with Energy Evolution ability and another Pumpkaboo. We see a Trainer's Mail. Let's go look at the top 4 cards of his deck and see if there's a trainer in there. Looks like he's deciding which one it is, and I'm sorry that the camera angle's not ideal. Looks like he didn't get any. Either he didn't have any, which is what it looked like, or he just opted not to get one, which he probably would have gotten one if there was one there, even another supporter, or I guess a supporter at all. He hasn't played a supporter yet, has he? I don't think so. So, he does have the Acrobike, which he's going to play right now. Okay, he opted to get the Shaman and put the Pumpkaboo in the discard pile, and he gets to put down that Shaman and set up once more and draw 4 cards. And like I said, I believe he has yet to play a supporter. That Life Dew on Pumpkaboo, a bunch of Night March decks do play Life Dew just because it would force your opponent to take 1 more prize, plus it's another free Pokemon in the discard pile if it's a Night Marcher. And, well, In this case, it might not be a bad idea because, well, Pumpkaboo is active. He attached a double colorless energy to it, so he's basically committing himself to attack with it right now. And there's the Professor Sycamore. We see 2 Joltics hit the discard pile, and he doesn't have a Mew EX in play. I'm starting to wonder if he plays it. He drew into a Lampent. That's not good. We see the Muscle Band go down on the Pumpkaboo. Okay, he's going to Ultra Ball away the Lampent and a 3rd Dimension Valley. He must really be hoping that Dawson doesn't play any stadiums. And we see the Mr. Mime hit the bench. Now, Mr. Mime has Bench Barrier, the ability that prevents bench damage, but it does not stop bats because bat damage is dealt through damage counters, not through actual damage output. So Sneaky Bite will still do 20 to the bench if Dawson so wishes, and Surprise Bite still does 30. And we do see the Night March for knockout, and there's the very first prize of the game, and it was during Brandon's first turn, which is pretty awesome. We do see the Sneaky Bite from Golbat, and Dawson is going to target down... he could really go for anything here. He's going to target down the Pumpkaboo, though, probably just hoping to get rid of that as soon as possible. If he can get 2 more Golbat into play, he can knock that out right now, and still potentially attack for his turn. Now, Dimension Valley also helps Golbat, which has an attack called Swoop Across, which deals 1 damage counter to every single one of Brandon's Pokemon. We see the Super Scoop Up and the Heads. So up goes the Golbat and Zubat. We're going to see the Zubat go back down and the 4th Zubat as well. We see another Sneaky Bite from Golbat. Probably going to target down that Pumpkaboo again. Yep. So, yeah, with that Dimension Valley, Golbat in essence can attack for free. Now, I don't remember if Golbat says 1 damage counter. I'm pretty sure it does. Or just 10 damage. If it's 10 damage, then Mr. Mime blocks it. But if it's 1 damage counter for everything, then it doesn't block it. Difference between damage counters and damage output. And we see the Shauna from Dawson's end. Shauna is a very consistent supporter. It basically allows you to always get 5 cards no matter what. I think we'll be seeing Shauna a little more after N is rotated out in a month. Yeah, a month or 2. So, okay, off of his cards, all he needs here is 1 Golbat, and he drew so many energy off of that. That was funny. He can Ultra Ball for another Golbat if he wants. That Zubat all the way to the right on his bench has been there since the beginning of his turn, so he can knock out this Pumpkaboo right here. He would not get a prize, but knocking out that thing probably is for the best, because even though he doesn't get a prize, he does get rid of the Pokemon with the Life Dew on it, so he won't have to worry about it later. And he does Ultra Ball for the Golbat. I have no doubt that he will target down that Pumpkaboo, and then it's just a matter of what Dawson will promote. The downside to all this is that the Pumpkaboo does... Wait, no. Yeah, they're just looking at Life Dew to make sure that it says when the Pokemon is knocked out, then you don't get a prize. But I believe it does say if it's knocked out, not just if it's knocked out by damage. There is always that thing. Like Lugia's Plasma Gale, whenever you knock out a Pokemon with actual damage, then you get an extra prize. But Life Dew just states when the Pokemon is knocked out, not knocked out by damage. So we do see the free retreat into Zubat. And the Zubat has an attack. I don't remember what it's called, but it deals 10 damage, so there's that. And Dimension Valley does make it free, which is really, really cool. We see the Revive from Brandon's end, something we don't usually see. It's there, but people just don't think about it. And we see the Professor Sycamore. And there goes another Joltik into the prize, or into the discard pile. So, I was going to say earlier that that was a downside to knocking out the Pumpkaboo. That's another Night Marcher in the discard pile. But Brandon negated that by playing the Revive and putting it onto his bench. I guess he just really wants the Pumpkaboos. Okay, we see the Acrobike, and he decided to go for the teammates and discard the other card. And there's another Battle Compressor. There aren't many Pokemon left. There are probably no Night Marchers left either. All the Lampent are gone, I know that. I believe all the Joltik are gone as well, so maybe he has a Pumpkaboo left. But yeah, he's going to discard a Mew EX and a Grass. Well, he's thinking of the Grass Energy. He does have that Leafeon on the bench with Energy Energy Ball, Energy Blade, one of those. Basically, it's 20 times the number of energy on the opposing Pokemon, or in the opposing Pokemon's retreat cost, something like that. It's basically the Seismitoad counter for Night March, because Seismitoad is a really big problem. Night March relies very heavily on items. So does Bats, so Seismitoad would really ruin either of these decks. But like I said, I believe that these are the two best decks, and these will see play into day 2. We see the Acrobike. One of those cards is a Muscle Band, and he's going to take the Muscle Band. I think that was Muscle Band he got. Yep. So he's going to attach it to that Pumpkaboo on the bench, and now he just has to pass because Dimension Valley makes it so that Psychic Pokemon have to pay 1 colorless less. Now, Pumpkaboo does have a attack that only takes 1 energy called Ram, but it takes a Psychic energy, not a colorless energy, so Dimension Valley doesn't make it go down. We see the attack. Brandon drew, put down the Muscle Band, and passed, and it's Dawson's turn again. And right now, they're just hoping to top deck something good. Maybe Dawson has an end, but he saw how horrible Brandon is struggling right now, and he just isn't going to go for it. But from looks of it, he actually doesn't have the Muscle Band. He's just going to continue attacking with Zubat, 10 damage at a time, but it might be all he needs to do. We see the AZ from Dawson, excellent. So he's going to pick up the Zubat and Golbat, put back down the Zubat, and then Sneaky Bite with Golbat, attack with Zubat. That's enough for a knockout. And finally, Dawson took his first prize. Okay, looks like Brandon's going to promote his Shaman EX. If he gets a double colorless energy here, he can man, I remember this attack. It's going to bug me. He can use the attack, basically. Okay, he will use his teammates, probably to get the DCE. Sky Return! Yeah, I knew it was something like that. It would knock out the Zubat, and he would have access to a Shaman next turn. It looks like that's what he's going to do. He's going to take his prize. He's going to promote his Mr. Mime. Dawson promotes the Golbat because it has free retreat. And even if it didn't, there's not much else for him to really promote. Wobbuffet would be useless at this point because the only... Well, no, it wouldn't be useless because he could get rid of this the setup ability from Shaman. We see a Super Scoop Up, a beautiful old school Super Scoop Up, and well, we did see the Surprise Bite from Crobat onto the benched Pumpkaboo, and we see the Ultra Ball for another Crobat. That's going to knock out that Pumpkaboo, and all that's left is a Mr. Mime that really can't attack. We have the Eevee on the bench, and we have a Shaman right here. I'd say at this point Dawson is on a pretty good roll. Well, okay, we are going to see the evolution into Crobat, knockout on Pumpkaboo, and another prize. We'll see what that prize was. I believe that's the only card in his hand now. And we're going to see the Swoop Across from Crobat. No, that's not its attack. I forget what its attack is called, but it basically allows for you to put 30 damage anywhere on the field. And, well, since Mr. Mime is weak to Psychic, it dealt 60 to Mr. Mime. And then maybe next turn, if Dawson gets a Golbat, he can not only knock out this Mr. Mime, but also put 10 damage on the Shaman. And oh man, this is just bad for Brandon. He didn't get any energy at all. He's just going to... Yeah, that's not good. You guys can see what's going on here. Dawson is down to just 3 prizes now, or something like that. So we see the Pumpkaboo go down. So now there is another Night Marcher. We see the Shaman go down, and either Brandon has way too many cards to use setup, which I think is the case, or you can always opt not to use the setup ability if you so wish. But usually, I mean, that's the only reason people play Shaman, is for setup. So we see the DCE go on to the Pumpkaboo. We see the Birch's Observations and the Megaphone. And at this point, I believe that Brandon is going to concede. So basically, that's the game. Bats beat Night March, and this is why I believe both decks are so powerful. You saw how quickly Brandon set up there at the beginning, and Dawson was able to just come back and just keep going, and, well, they had a really good time. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Once again, today is the final day of Pokemon Nationals, so be sure you check into the Pokemon Twitch stream to see all the awesome decks that are going on, and hopefully somebody is playing one of these decks and I was right. Thanks everyone for watching, and stay tuned for more.